This question is more about how to practice in daily life, and it's someone who you know loves the Dharma, practices the Dharma, but their family and friends and are not into the Dharma, and that they're often distracted into a strong worldly life, let's say, and they just wanted advice for how to focus more on practice in this sort of situation.
I think, I mean, here it's very important, at least in my mind and my life. I try to avoid the tendency to dichotomize practice and life. Sometimes there is a tendency, particularly among Western Buddhists, to somehow think that if you are practicing, you should be sitting on a cushion for an hour or something. That I don't think is what is meant by practice. There are certain types of practice, like cultivating shamatha, um, where nothing replaces sitting on a cushion, spending the time, finding a quiet place. But many of the Dharma practice, you don't need to sit on a cushion. So, so here, I'm a family man. I raised two kids. Like everybody, you make your living, you pay your bills, and then because of my dual background, I end up being dragged into this work or this group or that group, and my ongoing commitment to His Holiness and His projects and His mission. And so, time is a challenge, So, but what I find really helpful is the Lojong's teachings advice that in the morning, find a quiet time. It could be as short as a minute or two to quieten your mind, set your conscious intention for the day. If you're a Buddhist practitioner, make bodhicitta and compassion key element of that intention, and make a commitment to make compassion a reality in that day. That will set the tone. And then, there is a beautiful saying, poetry by Kungdang Jambe and Kungdang Tempe 18th century master, Giluk master, who says that, for a yogi, for whom every experience or every perception can be seen as a metaphor for teachings. For such a yogi, there is no shortage of teachings. So life really offers us opportunity, of course, but we have to be careful. We shouldn't be puritanical, because being puritanical ends up self-defeating, because when you don't live up to it, when you have over expectation, when you don't live up to it, which is often the reality, then you self-beat yourself, and which then leaves a bad taste and aversive relation to your practice. And then aversion is something that we would want to avoid. That's the human nature. When we don't like something, we run away from it. So I think just being smart, being smart about your practice and applying it, finding the opportunity in your life. And then once in a while, I remember Geshe, one of the, Geshes that I deeply admire, Gen Rinpoche, Genji Tapke. He was once asked, he's quite relaxed, never angry, he never gets frustrated, he never gets worked up. And he was asked, he said, for someone who truly believes in the Buddha's teaching on impermanence, he said, then being too upset when things happen and being too excited when things happen is just kind of contradictory, because impermanence is impermanence. And I think just having that kind of more relaxed mindset, in Buddhist language, the outlook, where you bring insights, teachings of impermanence and no self, and have less grasping. I think even though you may have less time for quiet sitting on a cushion, life will offer you a lot of opportunities to practice Dharma. And then at the end of the day, just like in the morning, find another quiet time, 1 minute, 2 minutes, 5 minutes is excellent. And then quickly review so that you close the day. You connect your, sort of end of your day with the intention that you set and dedicate whatever good you have done in that day. And that's how you progress. And then I don't think you need to worry too much about not having the time to practice in a sort of a formal way.